All right, folks, welcome back to Live Impact News. Vanessa Rufus taking over for Nick Sturdivant here. As you've likely seen over the course of the last 24 hours and even earlier than that, we've been keeping an eye and keeping you alert of this potential impact from a winter storm coming this weekend. And we are seeing just today, a winter storm watch has been issued. It's in effect for the entire Charlotte area through 1 p.m. on Monday. It's impacting Alexander, Anson, Ashe, Burke, Cabarrus, Caldwell, Catawba, Chester, Chesterfield, Cleveland, Gaston, Iredell, Lancaster, Lincoln, Mecklenburg, Richmond, Rowan, Stanley, Union, Watauga, and York counties. And it was a mouthful, but all that's to say is everyone across our viewing area will need to be weather impact alert. Now, we know various agencies are trying to prepare. Our Bria Smith has been checking in to see how first responders plan to respond to the cold weather here. So, Bria, you're joining us from the Medic headquarters in Charlotte. What did you find out?
Yeah, Vanessa, well, the biggest thing, I had the chance to speak here with Medic and also EMS in York County. Their biggest things is being prepared ahead of time. So in York County, they have a 7-day plan that they've already implemented for this winter weather. And then here in Medic, definitely making sure that they're preparing and just advising people of some of the things that they should do before we might see the worst case scenario of this winter weather. So definitely the do's and don'ts, wanting to make sure that obviously you want to stay warm, but not turning on the stove and leaving the door open, not leaving space heaters on when you fall asleep, making sure that there's a clear space. Obviously, don't forget to, leave candles on if you're leaving the home or you're going to sleep. So just those basic things, but just a reminder of having safe practices when it comes to heating your residence, whether it's a home, an apartment, you name it. And also being prepared goes along with making sure that you have readily accessible foods or, essential items that you might need, like water, snacks, chips, you name it, things that you probably won't be able to cook and put together, but that you'll be able to eat, as well as batteries. So just all the things, just making sure that people are aware, so that if we do see the worst case scenario, that people are ready to survive the next couple of days.
Now, Bria, we know, for example, with, let's say, a hurricane, I know in my experience covering hurricanes in Florida, we would hear from first responders saying after a certain point, when conditions get to a certain point, we might not physically be able to get out and get to you. And it's usually in the case of a hurricane, we hear, when winds get beyond a certain speed, and it's really just dangerous for high profile vehicles like, say, an ambulance to go out on the roadway. I'm kind of curious in this respect for a winter storm with ice now sounding to be more and more in the mix with the situation, causing issues with the roadways. Weather Medic told you, were there certain conditions at which they won't be able to come out and reach people, or do you feel like they might be able to get out at any point if folks do have an emergency and need help?
Yeah, Vanessa, that's a great question. They actually didn't name exactly what that point might be to where they won't come out to get you. They do say, immediately when they get a phone call is when help begins. But they do urge that if you don't have to go home because the roads will be so slick and so icy is what we're expecting, that just pretty much stay home. Which is why they're pushing to get all your necessities prior to those expected days when the ice will be, on the ground. But they will be able and try to, get to someone who might be on the road, who might be stuck, or in the case of an emergency. But again, definitely, if you don't have to be out, to definitely stay home, because just as much as it is dangerous for any one of us to be out on the road, it would be for them. So for everyone's safety, they just urge to stay at home as much as possible.
Now, I know with big weather events, too, a big portion that we have folks prepare for, whether it is, an ice storm like we're potentially looking at here for Charlotte, or a hurricane, or what have you, power outages. And I know that can play a role with maybe some of the types of calls that Medic might have to respond to if folks don't put in enough planning on, let's say, how they might power certain pieces of medical equipment in their home. Did you hear Medic talking about things that they wanted folks to prepare for on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big thing, especially if you have, any underlying conditions. You want to make sure that you get those prescriptions ahead of time, just in case of any power outages. There is no true telling when that might be able to return, especially for certain areas. So if you needed to go pick up a prescription, systems might be down. So definitely getting that ahead of time, stacking up on cases of water, gallons, especially if you're in an area where you rely on well water. You definitely want to have at least 2 gallons of water, or at least 1 gallon of water per person in the household for each day that the power might be out. So just reminders there, if you do have any health conditions and you do need that medication, to get it as early as possible, and to definitely have enough water for everyone in your home.
All right. Some great advice. Bria, we know that you're working on a piece for us tonight here on WCNC Plus, right after Live Impact wraps up at 4 o'clock. When can we see you in our evening newscasts? And do you have different angles planned? If so, if you're going to be in multiple shows?
Yeah, so we'll be on at 5 and 6 with full stories, here in Medic, so in the Charlotte area, and also in York County, just giving those 2 perspectives. A lot of great information, so 2 full stories with all the information that you might need to know for those specific areas. But again, I think this is general information that could apply no matter where you are that is expecting some extreme winter weather, Vanessa.
All right. Bria Smith, thank you so much. And we'll see you tonight for your reports. We appreciate you. And folks, will remind you throughout here, Live Impact, and through our evening newscast, that our meteorologists, our weather impact team, will be answering any of your questions that you might have here live on WCNC Plus. So ahead of time, maybe get some of those questions in. You could see the text line that you can use. The number is 704-329-3600, and you'll make sure, of course, that you're tuning in at 6:30 so you can see those questions be answered. Brad Panovich will be here for the usual live weather impact stream that we have right after our 6 o'clock newscast, answering those questions all week long. With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, talking about another important topic for folks who are preparing for the winter storm coming, and that is our pets. And I kind of want to break this down a little bit further, because we know that there are a lot of great tips and advice which we'll have for you in the coming days about taking care of your own pet. But we also know from various rescue groups that there are some pet owners who keep their dogs outside year-round all the time and don't necessarily heed any sort of winter storm warnings. There's a way for you to help out with that, with supplies, with stepping up to be assistance if you have any of these dogs who need to be rescued. So we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes with one of our local rescue groups. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you in 2 minutes.